What's going on, y'all? Nas stepping in. I've been pushing out a lot of content in regards to a lot of just like future talk, updating our mental, mental shift, reprogramming, a bunch of things that we can do to have a better future, right? And to kind of have a optimistic outlook on the future with all that's going on right now. But this video is going to be a little more personal, right? I want to connect with, some of you guys on a personal level, and share with you some, insight on my life personally and just the journey that I'm on and the space that I'm at, right? So before we get into that, definitely please, make sure you subscribe to the channel, Energy Intel. You like the video, share, and you comment. Comment one thing that you're working on, like as a personal development for yourself, right? That you're committed to this year. So just drop that in the comments. Want to see what you guys are, working on, where you at with stages. And if, anything that I can do to help you guys transition, better, right? Because I am for the next gen and I'm for the next group of young adult visionaries, truth seekers that are up and coming and looking for guidance to, just own their power, figure themselves out and grow to be the best that they can be, right? All right. So I'm 29 years old and I'm an Aries, right? I'm gonna start off with that. 29 years old, Aries. As an Aries, we have, certain skills that allow us to kind of see into the future, right? We use our intuition a lot. We have this ability to know what's to come, right? And for me specifically, the thing that I've been developing and practicing and getting stronger at is knowing exactly what that is, right? So while I'm on my journey, I'm on the path to mastery, right? Like I'm headed to mastery level. That's where I want to be. That's where I want to become. And that's my idea of success, reaching mastery level in my personal development, in business, and pretty much anything I do. I want to be at that mastery level. And on my readings, I'm currently reading, I'm currently reading this book right here, As a Man Thinketh, right? By James Allen. And one of the chapters that I'm on is kind of where exactly I'm at in my life, right? And one of the chapters is the two masters, self and truth. And pretty much this idea ties around, do you want to be the version of yourself that is in self, ego, selfish ways? Do you want to be that version or be the version outside of that, which is mastery, which is truth, which is the light and knowing of what you don't know, right? So for me, I'm at this space. It's called the vestige, the last vestige or last stage, right? And what this says is the last vestige refers to the final tiny remnant traits or sign of something that has almost entirely disappeared or ceased to exist. It represents the last surviving fragment of a past condition, power, or object. So pretty much it's like that last bit that's left. That's kind of, you have to acknowledge where you are at, right? So am I at mastery level now? No, right? Am I closer to it than I was before? Yes. And what is happening is it's going to be a lot of challenges and difficulties on that little last stretch to the mastery. And this video is to not only share my experience at that stage, but also, potentially help the next person realize and wake up where they're at and knowing the importance of it, right? Like what I'm understanding is when you seek in truth, when you are on this journey, when you want to seek truth and go to truth and not stay in self, you have to ask yourself, how bad do you want it, right? You must be prepared to sacrifice, to renounce to the uttermost, for truth in all of its glory can be perceived and known only when the last vestige of self has disappeared. So this stage, this tiny last stretch, you may feel like I'm right there. I've been working so hard. I've been, leaving past things, getting better, doing this. But it's that one piece left. It's going to take you to get over that one last piece to get to the final destination of truth. And it's going to be hard. This shit right here is not for the weak. It's not for anybody that's just, saying they want it and, because they see others with it. This is something you have to know within And once you know within, you have to go seek that path to the truth, right? You have to go through it. And I share this message that is hard to make sure people know that, because it is the last stretch where you felt like you've been doing so much work, the most work you probably really going to do is in this last stretch, right? Like, a lot of the things you probably did was not really work. You just had to do it. Once you do it, you did it, and now you move on. But this last part, to the mastery, to the truth, it's going to be a lot of real energy. Like, you're going to be faced with real energy and real, questions that you have to ask yourself to really, make sure you are ready for the truth. And that's what you want in your life, right? In this timing, we don't have many guidances, right? We don't have many guides, men and women, guiding us to truth. Truth right now is something many people are sensitive about, right? Saying it, hearing it, believing it, sharing it. We got people that's, sensitive on saying it themselves. We got people that's sensitive on hearing others say it. It kind of ruffles their feathers. We got people sensitive on sharing it. They don't want to be associated with truth. Some people. So truth is not on the forefront of, top things to get or achieve. However, truth is needed for all of us to live a righteous and a life that we want to live, right? We don't want to keep doing the ill intent things. We don't want to keep living foul. We don't want to keep living, in karma, right? Like, we don't want to keep having to repeat lessons and, have to go through these same life patterns and same life struggles, right? We want to become better. We want to live and thrive. And this quick message, not quick, but this message about, the two masters, self and truth, I really want you guys to think about, because you cannot serve two masters at once, right? So you can't do that. So if you living for self, you selfishly, you running your movie, cool. But you can't say you want truth, or you want others to see you in truth, or you want others to give you that, or you want the, benefits of truth while living for self. You can't do that. I learned that myself. I went through my ego death and my ego trips, and my karmic, stages. And, I thought I could, have my cake and eat it too, right? I was at a point where I was like that. I thought I could do what I want and still, try to think I'm doing better and all this stuff. And life showed me it don't work out that way. You really can't have your cake and eat it too. Because you have to sacrifice one or the other. So if you want your cake, cool. The unfortunate part is you probably cannot eat it how you want to. Therefore, you have to make that sacrifice. So yeah, if you want to become better and a master and in truth and righteousness, you have to serve that side and get rid of those selfish ways, get rid of those selfish thinkings and selfish habits. Because you no longer want that, right? So yeah, this idea of, being in self and so in tune with self, but then also wanting a better future, and wanting to stop reliving certain, experiences in self. We got to wake up and recognize that we have some choices to make and some sides to pick. Again, I'm currently on this journey to mastery. I'm right at this space. It's called the last vestige. I'm gonna put that up here, put the definition, but it's a thing. And those that do reach this point must understand that they are at this point, right? Because we're not lying to ourselves and saying we are masters. We're not being delusional. We're being realistic, and we understanding ourselves and our journey. So that way we know we're closer to mastery, and therefore we have to get more serious. We have to get more, intentional with ourselves. We have to know ourselves. We have to, build these boundaries. We have to just do things that we never did because you was never on the truth side. You was so in the self side that you didn't even think that what you was doing was wrong or untruthful, right? So yeah, man. Again, I'm 29, so almost 30 years on this earth of going through these challenges and life lessons and just learning from them. So I'm at a place where I believe that on my next 10 years of life and living, I will be entering that mastery stage, and I'm excited for it, to grow, to build my family, to now be the master that can pretty much bring in other things in this world, as the master. And yeah, I'm excited, and I want you guys to get excited for that. I want you guys that's watched this video to understand that your future is in your hands, and how you want to shape it, you can shape it, right? Got any questions, man? If you want to learn more, talk to me about these things, just get more personal, not, business, tech developy, tap in, join the Discord. I'll put the Discord link in the bottom. You can message me, we can talk, we can rap, and just, get a more clearer, outlook on where it is you want to go within these next, 3 to 5 years, of your life, and your transition. All right, man. Peace. I hope you guys have a great rest of your March. Study, read, take care of your health, take care of your folks, and let's just build and collaborate and, share this information and knowledge with each other, so that way we can, fulfill our needs, our purposes, our missions, together. All right. Peace.